Hey everyone, so in this video we are going to talk about marketing research in detail. Now marketing research is a very important component of marketing. In fact, you can think about marketing research as the foundation upon which marketing is built. Any decision that you take in marketing has to have marketing research behind it, because without finding out what the right answer is to the problem that you are having, by doing proper marketing research, anything that you do, any plan that you implement, any marketing strategy that you implement is going to be based upon just your gut feeling, which is not a good way to go about whenever you are making marketing decisions. So marketing research is critically important in every decisions that you make in marketing. And if you're thinking about research in general for decision making in your life as well, as I always try to make personal relevant examples whenever possible, any decision that you make in life should have proper research behind that decision making. Like, why are you making certain decisions in life? What are the values that you are getting by making those decisions? How did you arrive at the conclusion that you arrived at? All of those are very important questions that will help you move forward in marketing as well as in real life as well. So keep in mind that research is very important when it comes to decision making everywhere. Now, talking about marketing research specifically, let's think about like why do companies use market research? Why do companies care about marketing research? To understand this question, let's go back to talking about marketing itself. And as I keep telling you, marketing is all about value. It is about creating value, communicating value, delivering value, and exchanging value with the consumers, right? So in order to do those things properly, you first need to understand who your consumers are. Because if you don't understand who your consumers are, you're not going to be able to understand what they value and how they value things, right? So to understand your customer, who your target customer is going to be, what are their thought processes, how they value products, what are the products that they value, are critically important questions that need to be answered about the customer. So using the marketing research process, you would be able to understand your customers in more detail. You would be able to understand what are the things that they value, how much they value it, and you will be able to solve a lot of marketing problems because you have done marketing research properly. So when you think about marketing research, you can think about marketing research as the systematic process through which you go through as you try to better understand your customers and what they value, so that you are able to solve any marketing problems that you might be having or take care of any marketing opportunities that might present itself in front of you. So let's just take a simple example of my own personal life, and you might have gone through similar decision making process in your life as well, right? So let's just simply take an example. Before the time I got married, me and my then girlfriend were in a long distance relationship. I had met her only a couple of times. It was Valentine's Day, and I didn't know what gift to give her. Now, this is a classic problem that many of us might have, especially at the beginning of a relationship, which is very similar to problems that marketers also have. Marketers want to provide value and satisfy the needs and wants of the target customer. So it was Valentine's Day, in fact our first Valentine's Day, and we were in a long distance relationship. I had to do something, so I tried to figure out what would be a good thing to do in Valentine's Day so that it would make the Valentine's Day special for both her and for myself as well. And doing a little bit of internet browsing to figure out proper gifts that you can send, I landed up on roses, like many of us would. And I went online, I purchased the roses, and then got the roses delivered during Valentine's Day to her at a cost of around $100. And after the roses were delivered, She called me up and she said, "Why did you give me roses? I don't like roses." Right? They are a hassle to maintain and they will die after a week or so. And you just spent $100, which is a lot of money for both you and for me because both of us are students. It's a lot of money to spend on something that does not last at all. So I spent money without better understanding the needs and wants of my target customer. I did not know what she valued because I did not do any marketing research. I did do a little bit of marketing research, but that was not by asking the target customer what they needed or wanted. I used other information sources, and we'll talk about this as well, because when you're doing marketing research, there are different sources of information that you can use and different methods that you can use to collect that information. Now, because I wanted this to be a surprise to her, I didn't ask her, but I could have used other information sources or secondary information sources, like I could have asked her friends or her families what she valued so that I could provide that to her. But this kind of, I hope, like gives you a personal example in terms of the importance of marketing research, trying to understand your customer, what they value, so that you are able to better serve the customer that you are trying to get and trying to satisfy. Right? So marketing research is a very, very important process, and behind any marketing decision making, you have to have good marketing research. Just as the decision making in that particular process in my personal life, in any decision making in marketing, also marketing research is very, very important, because that helps you understand your customer, what they value, how much they value it, how are the different ways that they are willing to go to get your product, right? How much are they willing to pay, where are they willing to go and buy it, what are the different types of product that they might value that will solve their particular problem, right? All of those are different things that marketing research will help you answer, that will help you create a better marketing plan. So if you go through different books and different websites to try to figure out what is the market research process, there will be 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps, 7 steps marketing research process, but all of those process basically can be boiled down into a 5-step marketing research process. So let me just briefly list the 5 steps of marketing research process, and then we will go through each of those steps. So the first step is to define the problem or opportunity. The next step is to create a research plan, where you will create plan in terms of how you are going to go about doing this research. So all subsequent steps of the marketing research process are kind of already included in the second step of creating the marketing plan. The third step is then to actually go out and collect the data, right? So you need to go out and you need to use different methods to collect different types of data, and we'll talk about the different methods of collecting data and the different types of data that you can collect in a separate video, and please take a look at that as well. The fourth step is, once you've collected the data, now you need to analyze the data. So you, in your research plan itself, may have mentioned which are the types of data that you are going to collect and how you are going to analyze those data. So you might use a lot of different statistical, mathematical techniques, economic techniques to analyze the particular data. And once you've analyzed the data, the final step is to present the recommendations to the relevant decision makers. So marketing researchers who conduct the research will analyze the data and then present their recommendations and findings to the marketing decision makers, like the CEO or the marketing officer or the brand manager, whoever is the relevant decision maker, who will take into considerations the recommendations that have been provided by the marketing researchers and then make the decisions appropriately. So let's get back to each of those steps in a slightly more detail. The first step in marketing is to define the problem. So let's watch this funny video about what might happen if you ask the wrong question.
Many millions of years ago, a race of hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings got so fed up with the constant bickering about the meaning of life that they commissioned 2 of their brightest and best to design and build a stupendous supercomputer to calculate the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Oh, Deep thought. We want you to tell us the answer.
The answer to what?
The answer to life, the universe, everything. We'd really like an answer. Something simple.
I have to think about that. Return to this place in exactly 7.5 million years.
Is it finished? No, there's more. There's more.
They go back.
What, 7.5 million years later?
That's right. They do.
Deep thought. Do you have
An answer for you? Yes, but you're not going to like it.
It doesn't matter, we must know it.
All right. The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42. Yes, I thought it over quite thoroughly. It is, it's 42. It would have been simpler, of course, to have known what the actual question was.
But it was the question. The ultimate question. Of everything.
That's not a question. Only when you know the question will you know what the answer means.
Because when you ask the wrong questions, you will not get the right answers, right? So to get the answers that help you solve your problem, first you need to determine what is your problem, right? So try to figure out what your problem is the first step. And what are the types of answers that might help you answer the question is also an important part that is part of defining the problem. What is the objective of this entire research? Like, once you figure out the answer, how are you going to use those answers to solve the marketing problem that you might be having? So defining the problem, figuring out what is the objective of the marketing research process itself is a critical first step. Also, whether or not answering this question will actually help you solve the problem that you are having is very, very important and is part of the first step of the marketing research process, which is defining the problem. Now the second step, as we already talked about a little bit, is to create a research plan. Now in the research plan, you are going to summarize all the methods that you are going to use, all the tools and techniques that you are going to use to collect the data, the different types of data that you might collect, and then how you will analyze those data, who the relevant decision makers are going to be, who will get your recommendations, right? And how they can use this data to implement their marketing decisions are everything that you talk about when you are creating the research plan. And one of the reasons why you spend a lot of time during the research plan process itself is once it is set, you just go out and follow whatever is in the research plan. So you don't go tangentially into different processes or different questions. So after you set the research plan, you just move forward with that particular plan that you might have. So in this research plan itself, you will try to figure out what are the different types of data that you are going to collect. Are you going to go after qualitative data? Are you going to go after quantitative data? How will you collect the data? Will you collect exploratory data using surveys? Will you do observational research by observing consumers? Will you do experiments? All of those different ways, methods of doing marketing research and the types of data that you are going to use will be determined or discussed during the research plan creation itself. And once you figure that out, the next step is to collect the data. Now, based upon what you decided how you are going to collect the data, you will use that data collection method that you decided upon in the research process to collect the actual data. So you will go out, maybe you will do survey research to collect data from the consumers, maybe you'll do one-on-one interviews, maybe you'll do focus groups, maybe you'll do observational research, maybe you'll use primary data, Maybe you will use primary sources for your data, or maybe you will use secondary sources for data. So all of those different tools and techniques you will use while you are collecting data, and more detail about all the different methods and all the different types of data will be presented in another separate video, as I already mentioned as well. So please take a look at that as well. Now, once you've collected the data, the next step is to analyze the data. So based upon the type of data that you have collected, there are different statistical methods or econometric method that you will use to actually analyze the data, right? So once you analyze the data, hopefully that will give you answers to the questions that you were trying to answer throughout this process. And once you figured out what the recommendations are going to be, what are the findings based upon that analysis of data, the final step is you will present those data to the relevant decision maker, and the decision maker will hopefully take your recommendations into consideration and then implement their marketing plan and marketing strategy based upon the recommendations that you have provided them. So this is a brief summary of the marketing research process. So hopefully this video makes it clear what marketing research is and what the marketing research process is, and why marketing research is very, very important. We see that a lot of businesses fail, a lot of new products that come into the market fail. If you're an entrepreneur and you have an idea, your idea may not gain traction or be a success. One of the biggest reasons why a lot of business ideas fail or marketing ideas fail is because they are not able to do, or they do not do proper marketing research, or they do not put enough emphasis on marketing research. Marketing research might in many cases be expensive, but it is not as expensive as actually implementing an idea without doing marketing research and then suffering the consequences of failure. So always, whenever you have a problem in business or in marketing, you have to go out and do proper marketing research, because that will stop a lot of heartache and then also stop you from spending a lot of money that may result in failure, right? So marketing research is very, very important. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you very much for watching.